Yes, sure. I'll sit over here, get on all my gear. Whoa, what a low couch. I love it. These are very short panels, apparently, so we're going to get some quick fire questions.
We're going to rapid fire some questions, have a good little conversation, and I have to say, it's very cool to see. I don't know how many of y'all have waited in line to meet this gentleman today, but I have some fans and followers of my YouTube videos that were like, I wanted to meet you, but I waited in line for Sean for so many. I'm like, he's way cooler than I am, so go meet him, and you can meet me anytime.
No, it's all good. I'm blown away by the turnout. I've not really done. I've done comic book shops. There's a lot of cards, but I've never really done a collectibles show where it's a lot of card heavy show. And you guys turned out in droves, so obviously there's a lot of big card collectors out here, and made my line just nonstop. So I'm super grateful for that. How many have seen the new movie? Yes!
I haven't seen it yet.
I want to see it so
you're
gonna love it.
Because I've been here, and oh man, I can't wait.
Dude, well, we can ask questions about it. We don't want to do spoilers, but you're gonna really enjoy it.
That's very
it's a nice respite, and it's Gohan and Piccolo get their day.
Yes,
that's all I'm gonna say.
I'll say as a massive Dragon Ball Z fan, I connected with Gohan a lot.
Oh, you're gonna love this then.
I know it because I was really.
You're gonna cry.
Gohan got nerfed, okay? Gohan got nerfed at a certain point in Dragon Ball Z, and so I'm like, oh, this is what's happening. Very, very cool. So, yes, I can't wait to see the movie. Something I want to ask, I always love to ask when I do these interviews. I know you've done cons for so long. What's the most memorable convention experience that you've had? What's something that just sticks out to you? Like, wow, that was a cool.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's just a creature comfort thing, like and I hate to call that my favorite experience because it's just about whether or not I was personally comfortable. So there's that, which is like, was the hotel comfortable and did I have fun? But really, when you're talking about with interaction with the fans, it's not so much the convention as it is any particular scenario where it's a very special interaction, and a lot of times that centers around people who have gotten through really rough times watching the show, and that you're kind of surrogately a part of that, especially if they've lost loved ones. And so they'll share those stories with me and we'll talk. And my favorite part is just meeting everybody who loves Dragon Ball in general, because I'm in the booth recording, I don't really get any feedback, and so it's really nice to have everybody come up and tell you how much they enjoy what you're doing. And what I do with that is when you tell me that, I use it like a spirit bomb, and I take all that into my energy, and then when I go back into the booth, I kamehameha out my mouth into the recording. Meaning I take the energy and put it back into the character. So it's kind of a lovely circle of life. So I like to imagine I'm bringing the fans with me into the booth, giving me the energy I need to give them more. That's kind of a symbiotic thing, I feel.
I can only imagine, like, on the scale of how many fans you have, because I can empathize with that as well, doing YouTube content full time.
Oh, yeah.
People coming up and telling me, hey, your videos mean so much to me. That the people behind the screen, that when you're in the booth and you're by yourself, or I'm in my house staring at a camera, there's thousands, millions of people that are going to be behind that and see that. And making an impact on them.
It's
super cool.
It is very cool.
And
with the internet, almost anybody can do it. I mean, there's all kinds of YouTube stars now, etc. And anybody can do it. It's surreal for me. Fame has been a very strange mistress, I guess. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, it's something I struggle with because I love interacting with everybody. But usually after a convention, on Monday, there's about Monday through Wednesday, I'm pretty much a zombie. And then usually Thursday, I have to fly to another convention. And my girlfriend's like, you didn't do anything around the house. I'm like, I'm exhausted. I mean, she's actually really cool, but she doesn't ever complain. Actually, I made that up. But she's very, very supportive of me just, being able to take the time to heal and go. And I'm getting older. I've been doing this a long time. So it's starting to take its toll on me. I got to work out more. My doctor's like, you have to medically work out. You're too old. And I'm like, I gotta get Goku inspiration.
So speaking of, you said you've been doing this a while. This is, I'm sure everybody here wants to know this. This is something that I want to know. Like, how did you land the role of Goku? Like, what was that experience like? How did that happen?
It's an unusual and surreal process because it was not like a normal audition. They were moving the show from Canada to the US, so they wanted to have sound-alike casts, and so they wanted us to voice match the Canadian cast in 1999, which is when I started doing it. And so that was my first audition. I was doing voices in a puppet theater, really, for fun, and we're controlling puppets, and I was teaching French horn and playing in orchestras because I'm a musician. And a lot of my friends are like, you're really good at voices, dude, because I always do voices all the time. I just love doing it. I do impersonations of my friends, I do impersonations of celebrities, I was just always doing it. I go to karaoke and do impersonations of famous people singing. And so they go, you got to do it, you got to do it. And the problem is with me and art, if I do it, I don't just half-ass it. So I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, right? So I put together a fake demo tape. I put together a fake, well, it was a real resume, but it was fake because I had no voice acting experience. It was all my classical music experience and where I went to college. I got dressed, showed up on time, really took it seriously and committed to the role. And then when I got cast, I took it as seriously as I did classical music, and that was my love for many, many years. And when you play an instrument, you're kind of married to the instrument. So I got really focused on how to play Goku better and better and better, and I've over committed to it. And there was I think the main thing I've noticed about this weekend, it's starting to settle for me, and I'm going to go on a tangent a little bit, but
it's okay.
When I was a kid, I really cared about the voices in the shows, and when they change it up, and I didn't like it. So I told myself when I got this, I'm like, I'm not going to let this part go. It had nothing to do with fame or money, because none of that existed at the time. It had to do with, I hated it so much when kids had to go through that. I wanted every kid to have a consistent voice across generations, and I would finish the whole thing no matter what. And I committed to it like that, which is kind of, most actors actually, some actors will do that, but a lot of actors are like, oh, okay, well, all right, whatever, I'll do it, let the next guy do it. They don't, and some people think I'm over-attached, but I think with a character like Goku and a show like Dragon Ball, you have to do it that way. The show demands it. It's not a 26-episode show. It's not a show that's anti-epic. It is the very definition of epic. So you have to commit on that level. And so what's great is people come up to me and they're like, hey man, thanks for keep doing it. I've been watching my whole life, keep doing it, don't give up. I'm like, you got the message. That's what I was trying to do this whole time. So it's been a purposeful plan.
It's such a good perspective too, because for somebody who's been a massive weeb for 20 plus years, one of the things that turns me off the most is if, for whatever reason, it's obvious that the character's voice has to change.
Yeah.
It changes the character. You fall in love with who that character is.
Even if the next guy's a good actor.
Right.
That's the problem. They did that on Borderlands. From Borderlands 2 to 3, they switched the voice of Claptrap. I love the voice of Claptrap. And the new guy's great, but I'm like, it's not the same Claptrap. I don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah, it throws you off.
I'm like, you can be a fine actor and take the role of somebody else, and if you don't do it justice or do it well, it's not going to resonate. So you got to do it right.
It's so interesting to hear that you made that commitment, because I'm sure a lot of people here would agree, like something that I mentioned in the last panel, I grew up when it was not popular to like anime. I would get made fun.
You were Dragon Ball when Dragon Ball wasn't cool.
I was the kid who had a little fro, and I wore Dragon Ball Z shirts to school, and people made fun of me, which those vintage shirts are worth hundreds of dollars now, by the way. But you could argue...
Dude! Yeah, keep going.
You could argue that Dragon Ball Z and Goku are one of the reasons why anime is so widely accepted and loved.
To that point, I have seen on numerous mainstream shows, including, most recently, the new Maya Rudolph show, Loot. One of the characters is a massive Goku fan, and there's a whole story arc where he's explaining to his office worker that he goes, I'm like Goku and you're like Vegeta. And then he sends him texts with, he gave him a Vegeta action figure, and the other character goes, who is she? And he goes, because he looks at the hair and he thinks it's he goes, it's Vegeta, he's the Prince of all Saiyans. And then it's just a running arc in that show. And then I also saw it referenced on The Flash. They were watching The Flash, and when he loses his memory, his wife goes, yeah, when you were a kid, you loved Dragon Ball Z. I took a picture of that. I see it referenced all the time.
How cool is that?
It's so cool.
That's got to be so surreal for you as just a human and a person to see something that you've created, a character that you've developed, popping up in pop culture everywhere in things that aren't even involved in anime. That's got to be surreal.
For him to do that is just surreal, And to watch the parents try to understand and the screaming and stuff like that. I think a lot of parents hate me because the kids there's constant screaming, and then you turn on the volume and then the kids are going, ah! And like, would you shut up? So I understand a lot of kids blew their voices out trying to, which kind of worries me. I don't want kids to get vocal damage by not using proper screaming and vocal techniques. It worries me a little bit. But yeah, man, it's and I experienced it early in my career because Dragon Ball was very popular in '99 when I started, and then it's just gone up from then. But I remember going into a Target and hearing my voice playing across 12 TVs in a Target, and it made me very uncomfortable. I mean, I was proud, but when you hear that, it's almost like, it feels like you're naked, It was very strange. I mean, I'm comfortable with it now, but, I came from a classical music background, so I wasn't an actor growing up and used to that sort of thing. But the fans are so cool, and I have a relationship with the fans that is so cool in the sense that I love explaining to new people to Dragon Ball I warn them, I warn them about the fans, and I say, look, don't mess with Dragon Ball fans. Like, they'll get a part on Dragon Ball. Hey, I'm on the show now. I'm like, be careful. They will love you to death, and they will eat you alive if you screw it up. You know, if you screw up the lore or argue with them. Like, I mean, it's my favorite kind of fan because I'm that kind of fan for the things I like.
Right.
So I'm a rabid fan myself.
Yeah.
I have Dragon Ball as well as other things I like, and so I love trying to read people in on what the protocol is for we have a new cast members for the new movie. We have Charles Martinet as the voice of Magenta.
Okay.
He's thrilled, man. He's the voice of Mario. He's in the new movie.
Cool.
He's the main bad guy in the movie. Like, he's really good in it. And Alex Lee is in it, and Zach Aguilar and Jeannie Toronto's in it.
Zach Aguilar is
Dr. Hedo. He's also the main bad guy. Well, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but yeah, Dr. Hedo's in it. He's in it as Dr. Hedo. Johnny Young Bosch is in it as Broly. He's freaking amazing. Chris directed that film. He directed the snot out of it. I think it's possibly, look, it's just my personal professional opinion, but like, in my opinion, and if it wasn't as good, I'd tell you, I don't do hype. So when I say I think it might be the best dub we ever did, that's not a bullshit hype. That's my opinion, being critical of my colleagues.
Cool,
Like, I think it's that good.
I'm excited to see it. I'm such a big fan of the Dragon Ball Z movies. I have DVDs of Dragon Ball Z movies in my studio. Like, that's how, back when I had to go to Best Buy and wait in line to get the DVD because there was no...
A master plan for global domination. That's the sense I get working with them all these years. And I have supported that, and I've told them I want to see amusement parks everywhere. You know, I want to see a Dragon Ball theme. It's such a huge, rich world. I would love to see some, I don't know, dragon roller coaster, ride the dragon.
Something that I would love to see, as I like to play card games, so I play Magic. I would die if Magic the Gathering came out with a Dragon Ball Z set, where I could draft Dragon Ball Z and build a Gohan deck, or build a Goku deck. Oh my gosh.
That would be crazy, dude.
I don't have any idea what the ropes look
like. We know
like.
They got the new Fortnite mashup. They got the new Fortnite.
They just announced Doctor Who.
I just downloaded Fortnite. I'm going to play it possibly Tuesday. Me and Zach are working it out. But me and Zach are going to co-stream the Fortnite with Dragon Ball Z skins on Tuesday night, probably, from my Twitch and his YouTube.
Very cool.
And my mom was showing games and stuff, and I don't have his YouTube channel memorized. Sorry, Zach. But he's Dr. Hedo in the new movie. That kid's a great kid, man. I wish I had his smarts and his success at age 25.
What's it like? So Zach's obviously a younger VA. He clearly had to be a Dragon Ball Z fan growing up. What's it like working with somebody that he's got a major role as a major?
Well, we did here. We'll even go back another movie. When I did the first Dragon Ball movie, and Ian Sinclair got cast as Whis, he grew up watching Dragon Ball, and he was geeking out to work on the show with us. And then I found out Zach also grew up watching, and then Alex Lee. What's funny about him is I said, I go, when were you born, dude? And he goes, 1999.
Oh my
And I'm like,
gosh.
that's when I started on the show.